I fixed the problem in our house with acid reflux and snoring. We are both sleeping better now, and here's how. I read all the recommendations for how to address acid reflux, and of course, the first suggestion was to just sleep on a wedge. But if you can't sleep on your back, sleeping on a wedge is extremely difficult. So gave that a try. That's out. So the next suggestion that I read about was to use bed risers. I tried to go upstairs and film this with our bed in our bedroom, but it's really difficult because I have to get under the bed to show you what I'm talking about. So instead, I'm just going to try to describe it. We have a king size bed. So there are 3 legs at the top of the bed, 3 legs at the foot of the bed, 3 legs in the center. So I got this. These are 6-inch risers. I put these at the head of the bed. So the head of the bed now is elevated 6 inches. So these are the head of the bed. These are 4-inch risers. These went in the center of the bed. So there are 3 of these in the center of the bed. There are 3 of these at the head of the bed, and the foot of the bed just sits on the floor. It was not hard to do. I did not have to buy a new bed. I really didn't want to buy a new bed. I like our bed. I'm comfortable in our bed, but this acid reflux problem needed to be addressed. So my goal was just to address the acid reflux issue, and it did. The unintended consequence was that it also addressed the snoring. Now, it's not that the snoring completely went away, but it drastically reduced it. It drastically reduced how often snoring happens and how loud the snoring gets. So now we are both sleeping better, and I didn't have to buy a really expensive, non-budget friendly electronic bed. So I'm not tilting the head of the bed up. The entire bed is at a slope. The entire bed, I mean, it's not that significant of a slope, is at just a slight slope. The head of the bed is elevated now 6 inches, and the foot of the bed is still on the floor. The 4-inch risers are just in the center for support. Now, when I say this was easy to do, I am not joking. All I had to do was lift up 1 leg at a time and just slip one of these risers, either the 4-inch one or the 6-inch one, up under the leg. So I did get help to do this. I did have the assistance of someone to help lift the bed up, and then I just slid the riser under there. It was not difficult. And this is a king size bed. Okay, this is a good size bed. It was not hard to do. I am not kidding when I tell you, I wish I had done this years ago, because I am sleeping better than I have slept in the longest time. And it was a simple solution. It was a cost-friendly solution. It was basically a solution that I accidentally discovered while I was trying to fix a different problem. I will include a link to both of these in the video description. They're just so you can see what they are, what I'm talking about. It was so easy to do. And I mean, the wedge, trying to sleep on a wedge, you would think, just lay there long enough and eventually you'll fall asleep. But that's not what happened. What happened was, eventually, after laying there for so long, unable to sleep, there was just sleep deprivation and misery, because sleep deprivation is misery inducing. And my mom asked a good question. Why didn't you just get one of those beds that electronically elevates the head of the bed? Because that, again, is a lot like sleeping on a wedge. It's not just elevating the head of the bed, right? It is actually tilting the head of the bed. So your back is still at an angle if you're trying to sleep on your side or your stomach. So unless you're a back sleeper, using those types of beds, it just wasn't going to solve the problem for us. If you can't sleep on your back, you can't really sleep on a wedge pillow. It's so uncomfortable. But sleeping on a bed that just has a slight tilt to it, a slight elevation at the head of the bed, the foot of the bed is still on the... Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? Seriously, I'm sleeping so great now. We both are.